Hello, welcome to OMAT. Glad you're here. We're going to get started pretty soon, but I don't know if you want to know this. It is Feelings Week here in OMAT, and today we're going to start with the feelings by talking about my feelings. I used to think that I have no negative feelings. None. That was for villains in movies. I felt no sadness, I felt no anger, and obviously that wasn't true. I was just squashing them all down and then wondering why I couldn't sleep at night. So what I learned is that people who manage their emotions, who admit their emotions, they can be more flexible in life. So when things inevitably will go wrong, they can manage it and maneuver around it a little bit easier. So I started by admitting I have feelings. I have the quote negative feelings, the sadness, the anger. And admitting the feelings started me on my journey, very uncomfortable journey, but at least I'm admitting my feelings now, sometimes through tears. So let's admit the feelings. That's just step one. And we don't have to even identify which feeling or what to do about it. We just maybe today can admit we have feelings. And let's move on. Let's get into our practice. First, getting present, looking around, seeing where we are. Why are we seeing where we are? Because we're not in the place that we were right before we got here. We're not thinking about what happens before or after this. We are thinking about this now, and that's how we can get into our first exercise here of gratitude. And gratitude helps us get into that present moment. It also helps me find my feelings a little bit by admitting that there's something that I can be grateful for. Somewhere in the back, it's acknowledging some of that thought process, which is actually what feelings really are. Let's look for some gratitude right now. Let's wrap for now, finding water. And I'm going to admit this, since I'm admitting that I have feelings, I felt like having and practicing gratitude was, I don't know how to, was soft, for a lack of better word, which is what I was raised with, that word in the 80s and 90s, that soft things were for weak people. And it turns out having gratitude, being soft and warm is difficult because it puts you in a vulnerable position. So I have the gratitude, I practice it, and in turn practice vulnerability. Let's keep going. Practicing meditation, same thing. This was a funny word growing up. This wasn't a word that you admitted that you wanted to do or were interested in. So it's interesting what has the taboo on it and what doesn't. We're going to break that by looking to meditate, sitting in any comfortable position, eyes opened or closed, and breathe. As we come back, let's find our water. Meditation could feel vulnerable for me as well. It's very difficult for me sometimes to admit that I'm allowed to pause, I'm allowed to have a break, and also sometimes with silence, that could feel very uncomfortable. Learning to practice so that every time I practice, it could feel less and less uncomfortable, more and more normal in my brain. Let's keep going and write it down. Write anything down. We're gonna review the words in our mind by writing it down. Don't let them repeat up there. Put that down on that piece of paper through the fear. Let's write right now. Let's wrap for now, or practice wrapping by taking the water and by moving away from these words and into our yoga and our stretch practice. That is the practice of moving away, of transitioning. Let's take that practice and start with a sun salutation if you can. Stand and inhale the arms up. Keep inhaling as you raise your arms, look up. When you think you can't inhale, inhale a little bit more. When you think you can't, and then exhale, fold forward. With a rounded back, we're hanging over our feet. Our knees could be bent if we want. And stay there for another moment or two. And when you're ready, halfway lift with a flat back. And let's get into our high plank. Plant your palms down where they are. Step your feet back into a very strong high plank. And then lower slowly down. Your whole front of your body is on the ground now. And so if you push your palms, your chest will come up, head comes up, and we're looking up. And your elbows could be bent in that position. Now we're going to meet in down dog, hips up into an upside down V with your body. And when you're ready, walk your feet forward, hanging over the feet and then rolling up, meeting the palms above the head and exhaling them down to the center of the chest. And if you're still even in down dog, which is a couple positions before this, that's fine. We're going to take some time to have some water. When you reach the end of your sun salutation, have some water, and then we're going to transition into our plank. Now, we touched on the plank in the middle of that sun salutation, so you know the strength that you have and that you need for this. Let's be willing, and let's decide we're going to do it. And in that mind and body frame of mind, we're going in 3, 2, 1, and plank. This is what we're doing right now. Commit to it for even just a moment. Touch on that plank for right now. We're 10 seconds in. If you haven't started, now is a great time to start. Every moment up in this plank counts because we're using all of our muscles. That's 20 seconds. You're doing it. If you had to come down, take a deep breath. That's fine. And come back up. Join for the second half. We're 30 seconds in. Making sure that you're breathing, making sure that your body is working for you for 20 seconds. What does that mean? It means that your body might say, hey, I'm kind of bored. I want to come down. This doesn't feel that great. And your mind says, just give me one more second. For 10 seconds, let's work together so that we can stay up in this position nice and strong for 3, 2, 1. And you're done. That's today's plank. That's what it feels like for now. Let's stretch our way back, finding the water, helping us transition with water. Because once we pick up the water, we're already physically doing something else. So our mind changes as well, and we can take our way into the next thing that we need to do, that we've scheduled to do, which is breaking some procrastination. And that can be difficult because usually something's too big or it's too small, we keep passing it. Let's practice taking the smallest action. Practice looking for the next right action. If it's too big, it's not the next action. Let's see what we find looking for a small task right now. Let's wrap for now. For now, finding our water. And sometimes we don't get to do the things that we set out to do in that 1 minute. It's a very short amount of time. You might be thinking, oh, I should have done this and I should have done that in that amount of time. Instead of shooting all over ourselves, we just move into the next thing. That's fine. Sometimes procrastination, sometimes cleaning is just clearing some cobwebs, and then we continue to move. Let's connect. If we are having issues with something, maybe this is what we can connect with here. Who can I reach out to even just let them know, to sort of unleash this, to include someone else, or just say hi. Let's look for some kind of connection in this minute, starting now. Let's wrap for now. Finding water. Finding that last minute could have felt really vulnerable. And before I knew what the word vulnerable really meant, I was feeling vulnerable feelings and not knowing. And maybe because I didn't know it was vulnerable, it turned into anger or sadness or loneliness. The more I know about my feelings, the more I could really identify them instead of making them this wide thing that I just respond to. Let's keep going. Let's shake it off. Whatever happened just now with the last 7 exercises, let's make this one what we're doing right now. Why? Because that's what being present means. Don't worry about what just happened. Right now, we're going to move our bodies. Let's go in 3, 2, 1. Move your body. I know sometimes we want to stay in that last minute or go back 2 minutes ago. We're practicing moving forward. That's 10 seconds. And if you started moving, that's fantastic because throughout the day, this will be in your practice. When it's time to start moving, you move. That's 20 seconds. And that's what we're in the practice of. I said I would do this. I'm going to do it a little bit to show myself that I'm going to do what I said I would do. That's 30 seconds. We are more than halfway done with this. Are you getting a little tired? Can you meet the challenge by throwing a little more energy into it, seeing if you have it for 20 seconds, finding out what you have right now when your mind and body work together? Let's get that energy in there for the final 10 seconds. We're at the countdown. Allow your body to finish as strong as your body and mind can work together for today. For 3, 2, 1, and you're done. Those are the exercises. Some maybe are more comfortable than others, but thank you for practicing today. Thanks for taking OMAT.